Cord.
Wow.
Welcome in to episode 5 of the KDizzle podcast. We got yet another special guest on this multiple of 5, multiple of 10 podcast. Um, Math, just continuing from the Henry podcast, if people remember that from back in the day, where Henry famously quoted us and said that going out to bars is like a parabola. Thank you, Henry. Shout out. Um, we're joined today by the lovely Sam Cohen. Sam, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm a little confused. What is this multiple of five, multiple of 10 thing that you introduced me with?
So you're on episode 5 of the podcast. Five
Okay.
is a multiple of five. 10 is a multiple of five.
Oh, that's all it meant. Okay.
That's all, man. There was nothing deeper to it. Just
But
having some fun.
that
Just
that
having some
I
fun.
agree with you. Yeah.
We have
Well,
fun on the KDizzle podcast. Just a
yeah.
little bit
Well,
of fun, a
thank
little bit of
you.
education combined.
Thank you for having me on the KDizzle podcast. I have never been more honored to be on a podcast ever since, I was on the KDizzle podcast originally and we cut my episode. But now we're back again.
For those who don't know, Sam was actually my original podcast buddy. We did an experimental pilot podcast in when we were in college, and the podcast went great. I think the audio was great. It was funny. It exposed me. It put me on blast
Very
for
fun.
being an absolute goon. Um, but the thing was, I tried to set up a podcast studio in my apartment in college, and I watched back the footage, and it just didn't look right from us. I'm not gonna lie. I think I could publish that podcast, and maybe I will with the audio, just the audio, because like watching myself on the couch made me squirm. Like when me and Sam were sitting on the couch, I had like my legs up. You could see my whole like bare leg like sitting in the weirdest positions when I'm sitting there, and the lighting was weird. It was all just the visual. I did not do a good job with the whole visual element. That's what I was thinking when I first started the KDizzle podcast up again. I was like, do I want to do this in person or do I want to do this through Zoom? Like, what is going to look the best and sound the best? And I just look at all these in-person podcasts on like these YouTube shorts or whatever they do, like the little clips. They got like 6 camera angles. They got a whole nice studio. They got chairs, lights, cameras, and that's how I would want my podcast to look if I were doing it in person. Because if not, and you only got one camera angle and you can't like zoom in on people's faces when they're talking, it just kind of looks weird. It just really kind of looks weird if you don't have the whole setup correct, in my opinion. All right. Not to say that you can't go out there. I feel like anyone could start a podcast if you have a mouth and something to talk about. All right. So, and not to say that you shouldn't start a podcast, but I am saying that, like, if the devil's in the details for you, and the devil's sometimes in the details for me, I thought it would just be most effective, in order to, all my guests, they're far away. Like people live in the city, they live in different states and countries across the US. I mean, that's so dumb. They live in different states across the US. They might not even live in the US.
Actually, yeah, across the US. I agree.
All right, you know what? No heckling. All right, well, I was on my little tirade there. But yeah, that's my point. I thought I could do a better job. And I want redemption now for our last, fallen soldier podcast.
Well, I'm
So
actually
here
really
is
glad,
Sam.
I'm really glad that you bring up Redemption because I've watched maybe a couple minutes here and there of your podcast that you've put out. And I just had one question for you. Have you had any women on the podcast so far as a guest?
Sam, small sample size. There's been 5 podcast episodes, including you. All right. And I'm all about celebrating, diversity of gender, culture, race, all that. And I would be more than happy to have a woman on the podcast. Just, I haven't had a woman so far. Just
You
have
just
not
haven't
had a woman.
thought to reach out to a woman to put her on the podcast. Okay, yeah, not that makes sense.
Okay. It's not that I haven't bothered to reach out to a woman. I just think most of my primary contacts and friends right now are men.
Oh, so you don't want to be friends with women, is
No, okay. Yep, and this is why maybe we didn't publish the podcast episode with Sam starting to remember. But that is a fair point though. And I think the next episode I do, episode 6, now that you bring it up, I
Okay.
will find a woman to do the podcast with me. Okay?
Okay.
Is that acceptable?
That would make me as a man feel a lot better about this podcast.
Okay, that would also make me as a man because I like getting perspectives and takes from people all across the land, no matter what they look like, blue, yellow, pink, white, Frank Ocean. Shout out Frotion, by the way. Um, but yeah, next episode I will find a woman to do the podcast with me. I just got to figure out which one. Slanderson is in Spain, and
That's true.
Grace won't do the podcast,
Grace won't,
so
Grace won't do the podcast. Why not?
she's shy. So, in terms of that, in terms of money, we have no money. In terms of that. So, yeah, I'm trying to think of other people who might be good candidates. I'll have to run through my contact list and see.
I'm sure
It's
you know
good though.
to put on the podcast. I doubt you'd have a problem finding one.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice too just to catch up with some friends you haven't talked to in a while. Because that's basically what podcasting is, sometimes at the end of the day, just like catching up with friends filmed. That's really all it is. So,
Speaking about something
um,
I really wanted to catch up on and hear your perspective, because there was this
mhm.
you told me about maybe 2 months ago that I never got to ask you about, and somehow you haven't actually talked about on the podcast yet, per your knowledge and my knowledge. You met the Costco guys. How did that happen?
Oh yeah. Oh, I totally haven't even talked about that. Thank you, Sam, for bringing that up. Um, I did meet the Costco guys, and for those of you who don't know, the Costco guys are AJ and Big Justice. You might know them by that
No,
title.
there. It's Big AJ and then Big Justice. Sorry, I just have to
It's
make
it's
sure.
it's Big AJ. I thought it was just
No,
AJ.
it's Big AJ and Big Justice. I have to make sure you get the terminology right. But okay, yeah, you can continue.
Yeah, the terminology definitely delivers. It's true to life because, dude, his arms are like the size of my torso. It is crazy. Let me describe to you this whole. I could talk about this for hours. So here's what happened. I work at a bookstore, and these guys were in the area. Just because I think they have family here. There was also like a big fight going on, that they were going to be featured in. And they just happened to be in the area. I had no idea at the time. I was literally just taking my break. And when I take my break at the bookstore I work at, I just go outside and sit in some chairs, outside the store. And like all of a sudden, I see this creature that is like I'm like, wow, that looks exactly like the Boom Kid. It's just like he kind of looks like a shark almost. It was interesting. Um, and yeah, I was just like, wow, that's so crazy. He looks identical to him. And then I look in like the background and I'm like, wait a minute, that's his dad. That looks like the dad. And I'm like, oh my God, that's them. And I'm gonna be very upfront about something. I was not a huge fan of these guys. Like I don't have TikTok. I haven't had TikTok in a while. I don't really watch any of their videos. I just saw like through Twitter really that they were popular. Also, my friends used to send their videos all the time. Like they went to the University of Miami and did like a boom thing, and they did like all other sorts of boom, boom, whatever. Um, and I literally ran like blacked out. I sprinted up to these people and was like, dude, I am your biggest fan. Like, please, God, take a picture with me. Like, I was like hands and knees begging them. Like, literally not even that big a fan. Like, honestly, could have cared less. But just because I knew how much my friends would like freak out over this, like, and how much everyone would freak out, literally just did it for the clout. I was like, please take a picture of me. Um, so they were actually super nice, and it was like, absolutely, like, yeah. So I was like, I literally like pushed them apart and was like, "Can I please be in the middle of you two?" And it was so funny. So I might. Yeah, maybe in the editing I'll put up the picture here, but you can see like I'm in the middle and they're like flexing on the side and they're like boom, and it was so sick. It was so sick. And so after that interaction, I was like, I appreciate that, fellas. Thank you so much. And then I had my name tag on. And they were like, "Oh, so you work at this store?" I was like, "Yeah, I work at this store." Um, and they were asking me, they're like, "Oh," and Big Justice right away he just goes, "Do you guys sell Pokemon cards?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, we sell Pokemon cards." And I kid you not, this
That's in the
kid
video
might
though.
have what?
That's in the video they made of the experience, I think. The
It is. I was gonna go over that after. I'll go over that after.
I interrupted your thought.
Um,
That's on me.
no, don't worry, don't worry. So yeah, Big Justice freaks out and he's like, "You guys have Pokemon cards?" And I'm not even joking. The kid jumped through the ceiling. Like he jumped through the ceiling. Was so excited. Um, Yeah, so he sprints into the store without like his whole family's with him, sprints into the store, and like they got vlog cameras, they're trying to like follow him, like, oh, Big Justice found the Pokemon cards, no way. So I'm not even kidding you. When the kid grabs 40 packs of Pokemon cards, throws them on the register, all right? And it's like $250. And little bro throws a $20 bill at me. He's like, yo, this'll cover it. My parents got the rest. And I'm like, dude, all right. Like, if you whatever you say. So as I'm checking them out, I have to scan like each individually. Like I can't even like just
Oh,
type in the amount. So I'm just sitting there like, nice. Like this is crazy. Like this, it was a fever dream. Like I'm actually sitting there like recording as this is happening. Like there's just no way this is happening. It did not even feel real. Um, so as big well before he even checked out, actually, big AJ, big AJ
big
came
AJ.
up to me and he was like asking me different questions. I was like, well, actually, I think I asked him. I was like, so what brings you to the area? He's like, what are you doing? He's like, we got a fight going on. He was so overwhelmed. And like, there's rumors out there that he's like, this dude doesn't blink. He's from another planet. And they are so true. He was so overwhelmed. The dude did not blink once during our interaction. He was like looking around. He like couldn't focus on me. It was, I mean, I couldn't believe it. Um, he was just like he couldn't believe it because he was just like too much is going on right now. But he actually was super nice and he invited me, this random dude, to be like on his guest list at this fight
Oh,
that
you
he
were his
was
guest.
having. What?
You were on his like personal guest list.
No, like his personal guest list. He like gave me the website, the URL to his guest list, and he was like, "You can just come to the fight, bring whoever you want." I was like, "Yo, like thanks, like this is great." Didn't even know how to react. Like I was like in the moment, I was like, "Oh my God, this is the best moment of my life." And then like literally after work, I was like, got a dose of reality. I was like, "Why would I ever go to this?" Like
Why would you not go to it?
yeah, and then I was like, why would I not go to it? But then I was all like, do I care at all? Like when I got home, I was literally like, I don't care at all. But now that I think about it, that would have been so much fun and actually probably would have been hilarious. And I probably would have met so many different like content creators. Um,
You could have had more stories to talk about on the podcast.
I
But
would have had more
that,
podcast stories.
you had more podcast stories, but now all you have is the bookstore story and not the not you don't know what happened at the fight. Do you even know if they won? Did they win their
I
fight?
have no idea. I literally have no idea. I'm honestly like super regretting it now that I think about it. It would have been so funny. It was like Saturday night at the Peru Center or something like that. Oh my God.
Not
I
like
think
that.
it would have been
I have to ask, what did you do instead on Saturday night instead of going to this fight?
probably nothing. Like probably absolutely nothing. I'm sure I was like hanging out with some friends at home or something like that. But um I was like at first like when he said it, I was like, my dream has come true. This is the greatest day of my life. And then when I got home, I was like, this is so dumb. Like, who cares?
How
But
do you
now that
How do you think Big Justice felt that like the guy who sold him Pokemon cards like didn't get to go see him on stage at the fight?
I think he's pretty unbothered. I think like he probably didn't even think about it twice or remotely. So actually, the funny part is like, okay, so after I talked to AJ, Big Justice like throws the 30 packs to me. He's like, dude, check me out. Like, let's get this going. And he starts opening the packs like in front of me, like right after he buys them. Um, the thing is, like, so I actually started recently collecting Pokemon cards again, and I love the art, even if it's not like one of the full art. Like, there's a bunch of different types of Pokemon cards. There's like the standard, there's hollow that are like kind of like foiled and glowing a little bit. Um, and then there's like full art cards that have like usually there's like you know how Pokemon cards work. There's like stats and moves at the bottom and then the picture at the top. But this is like the picture all the way through. And they're super cool. Um and that's typically what you're looking for, like cards like that or just like some more rare cards. But I still appreciate like all the Pokemon cards I get. I still keep them all. I'm probably not going to keep every single one because I try not to buy repeat packs because I'm not like a super intense collector. But when I tell you, bro opened 3 packs and told me trash, throw it out.
Oh
I
no.
was like, oh my God. I was like, is bro for real? Like, I couldn't keep him because, like, bro was literally just like, throw it out. I was like, all right. Like, well, I probably could have, but I wasn't even collecting at the time. I was like, oh, okay. Like, bro got some, like, cool cards, man. He got, like, a shiny Chen Pao legendary, or not shiny, but like a hollow Chen Pao card. It was pretty cool. I was like, I would have totally kept that in hindsight, but bro literally just opened the packs, was like nothing trash, throw them out. I was like, man, yeah, you're not really appreciating the art, I feel like. You know what I mean? Because like even on the cards that aren't like the super rares or anything like that, I still have like a huge appreciation for some of the art. Like I have a normal Rapidash card, for example. It's not any sort of rarity or
But
anything like that.
it
But
looks pretty.
it looks really cool. And I really, really like it. I actually like have it like on my desk over here even though it's not anything special. I just think it's a great card. So maybe Big Justice is too young to understand, but that kind of hurt my soul a little bit. But yeah, that was an unbelievable fever dream sort of interaction. I never meet famous people. Like I'm notoriously the person who's like famously unlucky in raffles or meeting famous people or just being in inauspicious places. Um, but today was my day. That was my day to strike, and it was yeah, it was hilarious. I did not end up going to the fight, and yeah, and Sam mentioned this briefly. Um, they had a YouTube video come out on their vlog channel, and I was featured in that video.
Were you
Uh,
or were you just featured in the video?
I was so they recorded like when they were recording. They caught me like coming up and taking a picture with them, and then me like telling them what we sell in the store and everything like that. And it was really funny just to see I don't know, just to see me on the big screen. That was my most famous, yeah, my most famous YouTube video yet. But yeah, it was a crazy fever dream like experience that I don't think I was impossible because like it's crazy because like I had no real like affection or any sort of real liking or attachment to these guys. But when I saw them, I freaked out like a fanboy. I'm like, I'm 22 years old, man. Like, I freaked out like a fanboy. It was nuts. Like, something just took over and possessed my body.
What about like the owner of your store? Did he like or she, gender equality? Did they did they know what was going on? Like did they know uh who these people were? Or
So, funny enough that you say that. So, during this time, we actually had executives from our company's corporate office visiting.
really?
And I actually left this detail out. So, um, we had executives visiting, and they were just perusing the store, making sure everything was good, neat, everything looked good. Um, Meanwhile, 4 o'clock rolls around. They're just doing their normal stroll in. My general manager is showing them around. And like there's this kid screaming at the top of his lungs about Pokemon cards. You have me, an employee wearing the badge, going like jumping up and down, recording him, like laughing. And like I'm like totally not even thinking about like all the other factors are going away from me. Like I'm not thinking about how much I'm embarrassing anyone or like how crazy. Like I'm thinking like this is crazy in the moment. Like I'm not thinking about the executives or like how well I'm doing my job or anything like that. I'm literally just got my phone out and I'm like, dude, this is crazy. And if you think about it, like if I wasn't out there, I wouldn't have generated like $300 worth of business for all the Pokemon cards he bought. So honestly, that's a good trade off.
And you were creating customer satisfaction in your job. You were making sure that Big Boom AJ and Big Justice, I think are the names, had a great time at your store.
Yeah,
So
that's right. I brought it. I literally hooked him in, so I did my job right. I must have done my job right. Um, but yeah, like so after they left and after everything settled a little bit, I went up to the regional managers. Honestly, without even thinking, I was still riding high on adrenaline. I was like, I'm so sorry about that lack of bookstore demeanor there. Um, those two guys are like huge celebrities on TikTok. They do like the boom thing. There was a lady there. She had no idea what I was talking about. She was looking at me like, mm, nice. Yeah. The guy was loving it. He was like, "Oh, they're the boom guys. I know the boom guys." The guy thought it was so funny. And I was like, I was literally sitting there like apologizing. I was like, that's the reason like there was so much yelling. Everyone was freaking out. Sorry. I know that wasn't like appropriate behavior for our type of store. And the guy was like, "No, I mean, you generated business, you made a sale, it's great." And the woman was like, "Hmm, yeah, mm-hmm." So yeah, big dichotomy there. So my general manager didn't even care. He was just like, "Oh, who?" Oh, and then I told him he was like, "Okay." Um, so he didn't really care about it like overall. But that was what happened with the big wigs. So that was pretty funny. Good thing you mentioned that.
oh, of course, no, I wouldn't want to leave this story out of the podcast. I feel like it's maybe the most podcast worthy thing that you've done in your entire life. So I wanted to.
I don't know. It's crazy that I waited till episode 5 to discuss it. I don't remember discussing it in any of the other episodes. I actually, honestly, completely forgot about it until now. So thank you for bringing that up.
Of course, of course. Um, I think you mentioned that you had other material planned for the podcast. I don't know how.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the stuff we sell at the store.
Okay,
Um. So wait, I actually want to talk about one thing. Do you know what a jelly cat is?
I have no idea those two words that you just said.
Okay, so Jellycat is this like famous London like plushie company. It's like Squishmallows, but different. They're not like round or anything like that. They make like different stuffed animals. And I need to tell you something. I hadn't heard of it either before I started working at the store I work at. But the kids, man, are absolutely obsessed with these things.
There's some.
There's one in our store that's the size of it's like a big stuffed animal. You know, like a big hold on. I have this Jamaican banana that I won a like a fair. It's like bigger than this, but it's like a gel if this were Jelly Cat, for example, do you know how much this would cost?
Um, I have to like 60 then, I guess if I'm.
$250. If it were this size, $250. We have one in the store that is $850.
Who's buying that?
It's
Who's buying an
absolute.
$850
It
jelly?
is absolutely insane, and people go crazy nuts bananas for them. That's the thing that's absolutely nuts to me. Like people are legitimately so excited about buying these things. And I cannot fathom why when there's so many stuffed animal alternatives. They're not even like it's cute, but
Is it
it's not even particularly like soft or like excessively fluffy or squishable or anything like that. It is literally just like a Louis Vuitton version of a stuffed animal that like the queen's children should have. But people come in and they buy, like, people are so excited and it's literally a keychain sized toast. And people are like, I need this in my collection biblically.
That's actually insane. I don't think I would pay more than $5 for it.
I would hope one day that I have income to spare to like buy jelly cats in that fashion. You know what I mean?
Oh, that like 100%. But
I hope one day I have the income this podcast blows up enough. Where was I? Oh yeah, the jelly cat's absolutely insane. But I do want to tell you about a product that I am really excited about at our store, and it's this stuff called Nito. All right, have you heard of Nito?
I've not heard of Nito. Explain it to me. Sell it to me,
I wish
actually.
I was. I wish I was sponsored by them, and I will totally sell it to you. This is the best stress ball I've ever had in my life. So one thing about it is that it always goes back to its shape. So if I put this down, for example, just give it like 5 seconds, it's gonna revert right back into a cube. And I squeeze it, which is awesome. If you felt this material is unbelievable. Like you could slap it, you could punch it, you could do anything you want to it, and it's always going to revert back to its shape. It's like a tough, great material to just squeeze. Um, like I feel like a lot of stress ball, like there's a limit to like how much actual squeeze you get out. You could grip this like as hard as you possibly can, and it is just such a great relief. And like I literally have two. It's great to have different shapes. It's great to fidget with.
Did you buy
Um,
this or did you like take them out of the trash like you did with the Jellycat?
these I bought. These I bought because these are really just absolutely fantastic. Um, yeah, I've legit never had a stress ball like this in my life. These were not trash taken. These were uh, bought because these are so like I saw them flying off the shelves of the store and I was like, what is the hype, man? Like, what is actually the hype? Like for the jelly cats, like I still won't ever understand the hype, and I think money could be spent elsewhere. These are like $5,
Oh, those are less than the Jellycats.
significantly. Oh yeah, like literally like 80% less.
Crazy to me.
So what?
I feel like that's like a useful product. Like you could use
This
it.
is actually useful. I use them every day. I've gotten the most longevity out of these of any product I've ever had.
Funny you mentioned actually stress balls. I have this sitting on my desk. This is unplanned. My grandfather got me this cool stress ball thing.
Is it
Um,
like one of those fidget?
yeah,
Like, does it squeeze or is it just like a fidget?
move it around. He said it reminded him of me. So, is there something
Interesting.
about this ball that speaks of me in your eyes?
Yeah, it does kind of look like you now that I think about it.
Okay.
I feel like the layers on it and the gears show your complexity as a person, maybe. Show the deeper layers of Sam, you know what I mean? Like the gears and mounds on it. I feel like that just shows and reveals like, that you have layers to you. You're more complex, you're more sophisticated, maybe.
I like that interpretation. I didn't ask him why he got. I have no idea what he
That's
was.
really funny though that he's just like this reminds
And
me of you and it's
and
just
and
like
I
a
and I
ball.
and I do want to like point out he actually got only me a gift and not my two younger brothers. So this didn't remind him of them. It reminded him of me, like specifically.
I wonder, so did you ask an explanation like why did this remind me of you, Grandpa?
No, because like I don't want to upset him and like think that I don't get his wavelength.
Well, you weren't gonna upset him, but I feel like you have the right to know, maybe, like,
Maybe I
Gramps, like, what's up?
should see. Maybe I should like figure out what he meant with this ball. Because if it's the layers thing, then that means my brothers aren't complex and he doesn't like them.
Well, it's not necessarily that they're not complex, but maybe he just like thought of you first when he thought of the complexity. Like maybe he just like the thought of the oldest, most sage child. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe I'm just more like intelligent than them is maybe kind of what I'm taking away. Like in his eyes. These are his words, not mine. Just to clarify.
By getting this ball, those are his words, not mine.
Oh,
Just
of
so
course.
you know, everyone.
I mean,
Just audience, just so you know.
I was supposed to interpret it. So I guess that's kind of how.
I guess that's what we're gonna go with. And I don't want to make any comments on Sam's family, but you heard it here first from Sam. So
You actually heard it from my grandpa. Like
you
he,
actually heard it from Sam's grandpa. So just letting everyone know there. Um, okay, let's see.
what else do you sell at Indigo?
So I was actually gonna talk a little bit about just Pokemon cards and the state of what's going on with them a little more. I know we talked a little bit about it already.
I'll let you know. I'm someone who doesn't know anything about Pokemon cards. All I know is that I feel like Logan Paul probably scammed people with them at some point. But
Yeah,
um,
that's sort of what I was gonna get into, like this the state of where it's at right now, because you know what, we'll do that on the next one because we're about to run out of time anyway. So
okay,
we'll start up a new Zoom, um, and we'll just come back and that could be our first topic of conversation,
well,
and then I want to hear a little bit about life by you. What's going on? Any fun stories recently?
is this
So we'll do. What'd you say?
are the fun stories for now or are the fun stories for the next
Oh,
episode?
we're gonna do it on the next Zoom. The thing is, though, with the next Zoom, it's gonna take an extra 8 minutes. Like it doesn't let you do back-to-back meetings, so we're just gonna have like a 10-minute intermission, and then I'll send you a new link.
Awesome.
All
That,
right,
that's great.
all right, all right. I will. All right,
Are
we're
you,
gonna stop it there, and I'll send you the new link in 10.
are you gonna do the snap
Yeah,
thing?
let's do that. We'll do our snap. All right, ready? Three, two, one. Oh, we're back, just like
You're
that.
so back.
So during intermission, me and Sam were discussing Pokemon cards. I don't think Sam cares that much about Pokemon cards. Fair enough. Um, so we're just gonna sort of nix that topic. I think that's for a later podcast. I
Mhm.
do want to discuss something though before we get into Sam's work
Weird.
stories. Um, so there's this YouTuber called Ryan Trahan. Are you familiar with him or not really?
Isn't he like knock off Mr. Beast kind of? Or
In a way, yeah, but he's his like own very unique character. He did the he's most famous, I think, for doing a penny across America challenge, where he made it across America on just one penny, or he was like gonna give Mr. Beast a penny or something like that. Anyway, he bought a candy brand called Joyride,
yeah,
and the whole point of Joyride basically is like it has significantly less sugar and junk ingredients than traditional candy. And I love candy so much. And when I heard about this, I was a little incredulous, you know. I was thinking to myself, how could a candy still taste good and not like all that other crap um, when it has no junk ingredients? He's promised 4 grams of sugar for like this like traditional like sour belt, something that looks like an airhead almost. All right. That no like dyes or anything like that. So I was um I was in Target the other day. This is where they sell it. And I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. It's $5. It's an expensive candy.
that's less than the jelly things, I think.
That's much less than the Jellycat. If you think about it, if you think about everything in terms of Jellycat, you're probably saving money like
That's like
90% of the time.
what? It's like 1/6 of a jelly cat.
Yeah, no. If you think about everything in terms of Jellycat,
Shout
you
out
are
to
saving money. Shout out to Henry. Shout out to Henry for the math. Thank you,
Henry.
Henry. Inspirational. Um, so I tried it and I was going in being skeptical. I really like Ryan Trahan as a YouTuber. I think he's hilarious, but when it comes to candy, I don't mess around. So I was going to be 100% honest in my review. It was actually fantastic. I loved it. It tasted so much better than I thought it was. It was like juicy. It like it made like your mouth salivate. It was like that good. And it tasted exactly like blue raspberry. And like my teeth usually get sensitive when I have that much sugar. Like if I have like sour Skittles or something like that, my teeth will hurt a little bit. This was completely unlike that. Um, they definitely delivered. Like it tasted great, and my teeth didn't hurt after. And I will definitely be a repeat customer for Joyride. So definitely give it a shot. It's at all Targets. So if you, I don't know how much you like candy, but they have like watermelon wedge flavors and like cherry ropes and like sour blue raspberry belts. And I thought the sour blue raspberry belts were actually fantastic.
Noted. I'm like writing this down on my next shopping list because there's a Target around like a 10-minute walk from me in Chicago. So
Yeah, I would give absolutely give it a shot because they were actually super good and didn't have all like the junk crap. Like when you look at the serving sizes and stuff, it was like, wow, this is like the real deal. Like they're not lying. They didn't have any of the dyes or anything like that, which is great. It was great.
that's awesome. I mean, sounds good.
Yeah, give it a shot. We'll have Sam's review of Joyride on the next podcast. Anyway, so now I feel like I've talked a lot. Sam, I want you to take the floor. Tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Life's been good. So since college, I've kind of moved out to Chicago, working here full time. And
How does one kind of move out to
well, like I was
Chicago?
like kind of moving out like at first, where I thought I was gonna be in New Jersey, and then all of a sudden I got the Chicago job. So then I kind of like just moved out and just found an apartment within like 2 weeks of just looking online.
Yeah, that is true. You had such a quick turnaround.
Kind of crazy. I didn't know what city I was gonna be in or if I was gonna have a job. And then all of a sudden I had a job and they were like, yeah, you need to start in 2 weeks. And I was like, okay, I'll just
It's
move.
crazy that you were able to move that fast.
It
That's
is nice.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, but I like the place. I have I don't know. It's right in the city, so I get to walk to things pretty easily. There's a McDonald's very close to me, which is very convenient because McDonald's is great. Also, Dunkin'
Al-
Donuts,
Also dangerous.
very very dangerous, but that's okay. Not because it's a city, because it's McDonald's.
Yes, yeah, we know, we know.
Cool. Yeah, but as I was saying, at work, I've kind of come across a couple characters that I mean, I think characters are probably the only way I can describe these people because they are unlike any kind of person I've ever met. So
Yeah, you just doxed us. We're gonna have to believe
oh,
that. You
oh,
just doxed the
are
crap
we,
out of us.
are we not leaking our location? Well, we'll put them
But
in.
not
You just talked to us too. Okay.
no,
Uh,
I didn't even say you just doxed us like crazy.
um,
All right, you know, great. Now you're making my life so much harder. Okay, great. Anyway, continue. Go ahead, Sam. Thanks.
well, anyway, after doxing us, there's this one guy within maybe about a week of meeting him. Actually, let me just describe this fine gentleman. He's probably about 5'5". Um,
Okay.
born and raised in Mexico, is now here.
Okay.
Complete, very, very confident in himself. I'll say that. Very,
Okay.
very self-confident. Very loud.
Okay.
I don't think he knows how to act in a social situation like ever. So this is within maybe about 2 weeks of me meeting him. I'm just trying to get to know the guy because he works on my team. And we're in the elevator. And all of a sudden he just starts calling Russell Wilson the F slur. Like immediately. Like
Oh wow.
I had just met the guy. No, he doesn't know anything about me. He doesn't know what happens in my life. But I thought about it and I was like, okay, this guy, like, I have a couple options here because he just dropped a slur in front of me. I thought about it, and he's kind of spitting though, like Russell Wilson. He's kind of no, okay, but real talk, this guy is insane.
I'm actually blown away. I feel like I like so you work at a financial company, right?
Yes, no, like most people aren't like this.
Like, yes, you work at like a professional place of business. Like, this is a professional place of business. Are
Yeah.
we really having people like saying these things in a professional place of business to
Well,
new hires?
to be fair, we were in the elevator. No one could hear us.
In the elevator, it doesn't matter. Your elevator outside, inside, in a like you shouldn't be saying that. Period. But in especially to new people you've never met before, you shouldn't be saying that at all. But especially in a workplace setting where you're supposed to make people feel safe, comfortable, and you're there to do a job,
I
you're
felt very,
going out saying this.
I felt very safe in this elevator with this strange man dropping the F slur in front of me. It was great.
That's insane. That is insanity.
Yeah.
Um,
The story's when
that's a crazy first impression. If I were about to work at this company, I'd be like, "Holy crap, what did I just get myself into?" Because that is ludicrous.
yeah, no, it was a little insane, but it kind of gets worse somehow. So
Oh God,
I'm just gonna keep going. I I end up getting lunch with this guy. He brings
why?
he
Why?
invited me to lunch, and like I'm new, like I'm not gonna say no. He works on my team. I'm gonna work with him. Like
You're gonna have to. You gotta schmooze.
he's also an associate, and I'm an analyst. So in business speak, that means he's kind of like more important than I am. So if I piss him off within maybe like the first couple weeks of me working there, not a great look on my end. So
Fair enough.
he asked me to get tacos. He boasts that his words, not mine. He's from Mexico, so he knows where the best tacos are in Chicago. I'm not gonna fight it. He says he knows great tacos. I'll trust him. We're on the walk. Immediately, he just sees a woman and just starts staring.
Oh God, no.
And
Oh God.
he's just like, damn, take a look. And I'm like, what? He goes, she's fine. I'm like,
Oh my God. What is it's crazy to think about like, I know a lot of people like I don't work in corporate right now and like they're really good people. Like they're really nice to me. They make me feel
most of
welcome.
these people on my team are nice people.
It's
They're,
crazy. It's crazy to see how some people like sneak in like that though. You know what I mean? Like I'm like wondering how this guy got hired when he's like a huge creep and also
well,
like
hang on.
homophobic.
So I'm gonna keep going because this gets so much worse. Um, we just keep walking and we're chatting. I'm trying to keep it to work friendly topics. He starts talking about his sex life.
Oh, why? What is up with this guy, man?
He
Like, what? You're literally brand new.
he t I think I'm about a month in at this point, so at least I've worked with him for a couple weeks ish.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, all right.
Um,
That.
Meanwhile, he's closing in on around like 3 years at this company, just for reference. Um, so he starts talking about. Oh, I didn't mention his age. He's 27, by the way. This is crucial because he starts mentioning about how he would routinely go and sleep with his mom's friends.
His mom's.
So
Jesus.
he will bring home his mom's friends and sleep with them.
This is a crazy boast to be telling a new kid.
Yeah,
And
meanwhile,
how are you reacting? Like, what do you sit there and what do you say to that? Like, what do you even say?
I just keep going like that's crazy, man. Like you're crazy for that.
No, but like what else could you say? Like I get like you have to like you're working this company, you have to like interact with these people. Like you have no choice.
He's
But
entertaining.
it's entertaining, but it's also crazy. Like bro is dropping homophobic slurs. Bro is like being super creepy. And now he's saying he sleeps with his mom's friends.
So he
Like
continues. Wait,
what?
oh, I have more. He continues to say that he's been banned off of Tinder, Hinge, and I think Bumble multiple times. Oh, and I asked him, I was like, I had to ask why. Like, I'm like, dude, why were you banned? He goes, I don't know, man. I can't send any news on there, so I guess it must have been the conversation. I'm like, I
This
can't.
guy just got is dropped. You just like dropped like 6 felonies for this guy. I think. I think this guy's going to prison. I'm pretty
So,
sure.
so he currently, however, there is one dating app that hasn't banned him. Do you want to guess which one that is?
What did you say? So you said it was Tinder.
Oh, well, he's banned off Tinder.
He's banned off. No, which ones is he banned off of?
Tinder, Hinge, and Bumble.
Tinder, Hinge, and Bumble. Those are the only. Grinder.
No, because he's homophobic.
Oh yeah, right.
Sorry, that
Um,
he'd probably get banned out there too. Like,
like Match.com or I don't even know another one.
Facebook dating.
Oh, of course. Facebook dating.
Yeah. So yeah, this guy's insane.
That is actually so what do other people at the company think of him? Like, do you know?
I don't think that they love him.
How does he still have a job? Is he amazing at what he does? Does he bring in $1 million trillion worth of revenue every month, and that's why he's still at this company. Because all other factors aligned to him should not have a job. He should not have a job. He should be in a prison cell.
Brings good personality to the office. Positive energy to a workplace.
Lord help us all. That is insanity. I wouldn't know how to react, honestly. Like the fact that you were able to sit there and brave that whole lunch, kudos to you, because I don't even know what I would have done, to be honest. I would have, like, I don't even know how I would have reacted. I would have been so uncomfortable. Were you like so wildly uncomfortable?
I just didn't know what to do. I was just standing
I
there.
know. I would have been flabbergasted. I would have been so flabbergasted and uncomfortable.
Dude, and then he like asked me like, "Oh yeah, do you have a girlfriend?" And I'm like one, like I mainly don't even date women, and two, like I'm not getting into this. So I was just like,
Yeah, like it's work, man. I just met you. Are you kidding? Com- f- Confident in himself is definitely a nice way of putting
"Oh well, yeah."
whatever is going
I
on
think
with him.
I think he really does think that he's awesome.
Yeah,
Like
I think you are putting that very nicely though. I feel like there's a lot of other ways to say that. For this guy who sounds like a total lunatic. That is Sam, I'm praying for you. So what is the status? So you've been there how many months now?
I'm there like 8 months at this point.
Yeah, so trudged on 8 months. Has he bothered you since?
Oh, we're best friends now.
You're a lunatic. I'm telling you what, you are a crazy person.
No,
Uh,
we get coffee occasionally. I learned how to deal with him, I think,
that's
because
good. I mean, if you have to deal with him, you might as well not like have tremendous animosity. But he does sound like you want to like don't definitely don't want to be best friends with this guy.
this is the way that I deal with it. I just imagine that none of those things are true, and I just assume he's lying about everything because there's no way that that can just be a person. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, I'm convinced this is some sort of test put on by the company to be like, how does this guy do in social situations? Like, let's put him out with like our weirdest AI or something. That's gotta be it. That
Yeah,
has to be it because that guy sounds just like he's got a lot of things to work on. Anyway, anything else that's relatively normal or like legal?
legal, yes. Okay. There's another character at my work. He's not as bad as this guy, the first guy. But character number two sits next to me, so I like really have to interact with him like all the time. I actually think he's a very nice person. However, he's a massive Trump supporter. Like,
Ooh.
like I thought when I was going into work, I didn't really, not that I didn't understand the no politics at work kind of talk, but I was just like I was like, I can make a blanket statement. And I was like, yeah, dude, I think these candidates are not great, whatever. And he goes, well, personally, I really like Trump, but that's just me. And I was like, oh, so I sit next to this guy for like years.
Yeah, I know. Next 4 years are gonna be rough.
He is a nice guy. He also
Yeah,
does
I mean,
he can also do a mean Family Guy impression.
from which character?
It's a really really good Peter Griffin.
Oh
Fantastic.
wow, that's impressive. I happen to I wish I was good at it. I'm decently good at impressions.
Okay.
I thought my Joe Swanson was good. Hey, Peter. But I don't know if it's
I
that
like it.
good.
I think it's pretty good.
It's decent. I don't know if it's coming across all right, but that is a great quality in a person. So I
He
feel like
also
it's important. It's good that like, all right, he's a Trump supporter, whatever, but like, at least you guys can get along beyond that, and it doesn't have to be about politics.
he's a good person. He
Yeah, at least he's a nice guy.
also does a very good Eric Cartman too.
Oh,
Um,
all right. So that's two good qualities in him. It's unfortunate that that has to be the case, but at least politics don't have to be discussed during work,
not
and
it,
you don't have to get into it.
I try if he ever tries to bring anything up, I just turn it into a joke at this point and like,
Yeah, just you gotta like deflect or turn it into a joke because obviously you're just gonna have some wild disagreements in that case.
we just make fun of Joe Biden because I feel like we can agree that that guy's like senile. So I
Yeah,
think
well, Joe, A. Byron.
we looked up on we tried to find the odds if there were betting odds for how long he'll make it into Trump's term online. We couldn't find any betting odds on it, but
How long he'll make it? Like,
yeah,
as in, like, living?
that
Oh
that,
my God.
that was our conversation the other day.
That's outrageous. That is outrageous.
Hey, Poly Market has almost everything.
I don't want to be involved in these types of conversations. I don't bet on men's death. Um,
Oh,
nah,
so
these
well, hold
days.
on. Well, we're not betting on his death. We're betting on how long he'll be alive. So it's still different.
Oh, nice, F. Thanks. Good.
I,
Good
I
stuff.
got to clarify for legal reasons.
Man, that is wild. So you got definitely have some characters in your office. Do you overall enjoy like this work environment though and what you're doing?
Yeah, I do. Because I actually maybe counter to what I was saying initially, but I actually do think the people in the office are good people. My boss is super, super nice.
Okay, so generally speaking, on average, you got some good guys.
My boss's name is actually Kyle too, which is very funny. So you're pretty much my boss.
Let's go.
So, like,
What'd you say? Sorry, cut out.
personalities. This guy is like the most quiet person I think I've ever met in my entire life, and you are not that.
Quite the quite the opposite actually. Yeah, I was actually having a conversation with my coworkers today, and
Here,
they were saying like we were talking about like we like who our counterparts are in the office, and they were like, Kyle, I feel like you always love talking to the people who are the most quiet in the office. Um, just because you're a yapper and they just sit there and listen, and that works so well with each other, like the combination, because it's true. Like the two people I talk to most in the office are the ones who are like the most silent. And it's just because like I literally just talk infinitely and they give me like 3 line responses or like 2 word, 3 word responses. And then I just keep going and going. And it's hilarious how that works.
I feel like that's kind of why you and Henry get along sometimes because he can just be very. I mean, Henry has when he speaks, it's always hilarious. But I
That's
feel
true.
like he's a man of like a few words, a few great words.
I think that is part of why me and Slanderson are like can talk to Henry so easily because we're just both huge yappers. And he could just sit there and listen. And same thing with John. Like John's very quiet typically and like reserved. And I could just talk to John about like anything forever, and he'll just be like, "Mm-hmm, yep." So it's just like the same sort of thing. It's interesting though how like opposites are like such good friends, but at the same time, like it works on multiple levels too. Just because I could be friends with someone who's also a yapper, and we could get it's like, for example, me and Sushant like when we get together, it could be like hilarious because we're just yapping and yapping,
So
like a common goal of yapping.
I'm going to do a slight pivot on this conversation. Speaking of Sushant, I don't know if you've done an episode with the Luca trade and talked about it
Yes,
yet.
yes, we actually are. It's funny you mentioned this because we actually talked about this at length in my last podcast. It's unpublished right now,
Oh,
so
gotcha.
I'm gonna publish it. But yes, we did talk at length. Sushant, he
Oh,
is going through it right now. He is not happy.
oh wait.
Um,
Did you talk about it with Sushant? Was your last?
No, my last podcast guest was Rahul, who was very much enjoying Sushan's suffering, unfortunately for him.
Wait, so
Uh,
is Rahul going to be number 4 or number 6?
so Rahul's number 4, you're
Uh,
number 5, and then I don't have a 6, but it's going to be a woman.
well, because what I was going to say is like I was only in my mind counting like the 4 people that have gone so far not being women. But you're telling me that you actually had another guest that's not even released yet that's also not a woman.
No, I told you your podcast number 5,
So okay, no. Well,
and
my mental math wasn't mathing, but now, so I just really want to emphasize the fact that you had 5 men on the podcast, and
you are. I told you 5 men. You're a multiple of 5 and a multiple of 10. Okay, that's where we're at right now. I told you that at the beginning. All right, so your math is still mathing.
yeah,
Same
I'm
math
great.
as before. All right,
Yeah,
Henry.
thank you,
Shout
Henry.
out Parabola. Shout out Henry.
Not a problem.
Shout out Parabola.
So I'll leave the Luka Doncic talk to
Yeah,
Rahul.
you can leave the Luca talk there. Um, I think we could approach our final segment here. Is there any last remarks you have for us today? Any last story? Anything else you want to leave us with?
Um, wow, you're really putting me on the spot here.
I know I am putting you on the spot. Just in case, yeah, if it's okay, you don't have any final remarks.
I guess uh, I I don't really have any like final stories, but I don't. I want to know when you're gonna come visit Chicago next. That's my
Oh
final.
yeah, that's a good. Okay, yeah, let's do that. So, I've actually been thinking a lot about traveling more, just because I have the time now. Um, plus like in case I get any job offers or interviews there, and plus so many people are there, so many of my friends are there, just in the city. So I definitely look forward to coming at some point. I want to like I don't want to do a road trip necessarily, but I want to find a weekend where everyone's just around and like we could all have just a nice time. So I can't give you an exact date yet,
Yeah.
but I know it probably. I'm thinking around maybe April or May.
I mean,
Maybe.
it would be cool to find a day that Stella and Saman overlap because I know he's leaving because he's only here for the year.
Where's he going?
I don't know, but I think he wants to be in New York, and he right now he's only his U Chicago program is a year long. So
Okay.
I assume he'll probably just go back home. And
Okay. Oh, okay. So I think I will try. So Stella will be home at the end of June, I think, right?
I actually don't know. That's a solid question. Well, if you had
Yeah,
one,
that is.
then you could probably figure that out that answer like pretty easily. But yeah,
If
so
yeah.
that's all.
Yeah, it's hard to get our schedules aligned with people all the way in Spain. So, but
Uh,
I what'd you say?
Understandable, understandable.
Understandable. So we'll find someone else. But I've spoken to Stella actually multiple times. So not to say I haven't spoken to the woman, just haven't had one on the podcast yet.
Okay, I got you.
Okay. All right. So just saying, I'm not exclusive. What's the word? Excluding, not excluding. Just haven't had a
Hasn't happened.
serendipitous opportunity there. All right. That's all it is. Um,
For
but
June,
yeah. What'd you say?
April, June-ish.
April to June, April, May, June. I'm thinking sometime just um in the spring. Yeah.
Over the winter.
Um the weather will get a little nicer. Right now Chicago's incredibly bitterly cold, I'm sure. So I'm not all about that. Just we had such a nice time last summer, so I figured some like maybe spring, summerish around there. I think will be the best time. And with that, that'll bring us to the end of the KDizzle Pod, episode 5.
It was an
Um,
honor being on the podcast. I've enjoyed every single moment of it.
it was an absolute pleasure having you, Sam. Crazy to hear about your work. I want to comment section. Just pray for Sam at work. Um,
It's a struggle out there.
it sounds like a struggle out there. I know you're enjoying it overall, though, but just stay away from those two guys, maybe. Especially that one guy.
Oh, they're great.
Um,
They're awesome. They're my favorite people ever that I've ever met. I think.
nice, man. Nice. Um,
You're watching
so
stuff.
that'll bring us to the end. Thank you very much, Sam, for being here today.
Of course.
And I look forward to having you back. Sam's gonna try Joyride. I'll get his review for the next pod.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll get Joy
with
right. I'll text you my review.
and Sam will text us the review. We'll put it on the pod. And with that said, have a good one, everyone. Thank you.
One. Thank you for having me.
All right.